Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana 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 Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava 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 Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Chayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Shishmad Chidani Goswami, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai, Shri Gonitai Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam tato jayam mudhirayet nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter number 5, entitled Lord Rishabhadev's Teachings, and we are in text 19. Idang sharirang mama durvibhavyam Idang shariram mama durvibhavyam Satvang hime hridayang yatra dharmaha Satvang hime hridayang yatra dharmaha Prashte krito me yada dharma arad Prashte krito me yada dharma arad Ato himam rishabha prahurarya Ato himam rishabham prahurarya Idang sharirang mama durvibhavyam Satvang hime hridayang yatra dharma Prashte krito me yada dharma arad Ato himam rishabham prahurarya Idam shariram madhuryaryam Satvang hime hridayang yatra dharma Aho himam rishabham prahurarya Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam Satvang hime hridayam yatra dharma Satvang hime hridayam yatra dharma Prishte krito me yada dharma arad Aho mihimam rishabham prabhurarya Idang shariram mama durvibhavyam Satvang hime hridayam yatra dharma Prishte krito me yada dharma arad Ato himam rishabham parurarya. Thank you. Word by word translation. Idam, this, shariram, transcendental body. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Oh, yes. Did I say transcendental body and then Satchit Ananda Vigraha? It's the same thing. Okay. It's written here in Sanskrit, so I thought, now will come a German or translation, but it's actually like this in the verse. Prabhupada adds this. Okay. Mama, my, Durvibhavyam, inconceivable, Sattvam, with no tinge of the material modes of nature. He, indeed, me, my, hridayang, heart, yatra, wherein, dharma, the real platform of religion, bhakti yoga, prashte, on the back, krita, made, me, by me, yet, because, adharmaha, irreligion, arat, far away, ataha, therefore, he, indeed, mam, me, rishabham, the best of the living beings, prahu, call, arya, those who are advanced in spiritual life, or the respectable superiors. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport is quite long, and translation also, but it's beautiful. My transcendental body, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, looks exactly like a human form, but it is not a material human body. It is inconceivable. I am not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart have I abandoned irreligion, adharma, and non-devotional activities. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Rishabdev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the best of all living entities. Purport. In this verse, the words idam shariram mama durvibhavyam are very significant. Generally, we experience two energies, material energy and spiritual energy. We have some experience of the material energy, earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, because in the material world, everyone's body is composed of these elements. Within the material body is the spirit soul, but we cannot see it with the material eyes. When we see a body full of spiritual energy, it is very difficult for us to understand how the spiritual energy can have a body. It is said that Lord Rishabdev's body is completely spiritual. Therefore, for a materialistic person, it is very difficult to understand. For a materialistic person, the completely spiritual body is inconceivable. We have to accept the version of the Vedas when our experimental perception cannot understand a subject. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The Supreme Lord has a body with form, but that body is not composed of material elements. It is made of spiritual bliss, eternity, and living force. By the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord can appear before us in His original spiritual body. But because we have no experience of the spiritual body, we are sometimes bewildered and see the form of the Lord as material. The Mayavadi philosophers are completely unable to conceive of a spiritual body. They say that the spirit is always impersonal, and whenever they see something personal, they take it for granted that it is material. In Bhagavad Gita 9.11 it is said, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhutta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Unintelligent people think that the Supreme Lord accepts a body composed of material energy. We can easily understand the material body, but we cannot understand the spiritual body. Therefore, Rishabdev says, Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam. In the spiritual world, everyone has a spiritual body. There is no conception of material existence there. In the spiritual world, there is only service and the receiving of service. There is only sevya, seva, and sevaka. The person served, the process of service, and the servant. These three items are completely spiritual, and therefore the spiritual world is called absolute. There is no tinge of material contamination there. Being completely transcendental to the material conception, Lord Rishabdev states that his heart is composed of dharma. Dharma is explained in Bhagavad Gita 1866. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. In the spiritual world, every living entity is surrendered to the Supreme Lord and is completely on the spiritual platform. Although there are servitors, the served, and service, all are spiritual and variegated. At the present moment, due to our material conception, everything is durvibhavya, inconceivable. Being the Supreme, the Lord is called Rishabha, the best. In terms of the Vedic language, Nityo Nityanam, we are also spiritual, but we are subordinate. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the foremost living entity. The word Rishabh means the chief or the supreme and indicates the Supreme Being or God Himself. So Prabhupada is really driving home this point. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamahyam Dadati Swatmadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adigora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Shivaram Swaminiti Namine. Hare Krishna, the devotees. Thank you very much for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class and continuing hearing from Lord Rishabdev's teachings. So this is a little bit of a experiment, like I just try to prepare during japa, whatever comes from the holy name, and let's see what comes through. But I guess it will be rather short, so please also be proactive, think about things that you find inspiring, and we can share in the end. But one thing is very clear, that Rishabdev is describing himself as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he makes this point very clear. I mean, Prabhupada especially makes it very clear. The translation is very much embellished or fluffed out, in a sense of, Prabhupada is really making this point that Krishna, or in this case Rishabdev as his incarnation, they are not material in any shape, way or form. But at the same time they do have a form, a spiritual body. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Prabhupada, a few times he mentions this, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He mentions it in purport, but he also puts it in the translation of the verse itself, just to really put this clear. Because in the verse itself, Rishabdev, he's saying that, his body is sattvam with no tinge of the material modes of nature. But Prabhupada really, he writes, that he looks exactly like a human form, but it is not the material human body. So first of all, Prabhupada makes his point, he looks exactly, God looks like us, or rather we look like God. It is also said in the Bible that man is created in the image of God. And this is a very wonderful understanding that only the Vedas actually go into depth, right? We hear that, in the Bible, for example, that God has a form like human beings, but we don't have any more information about how does this human form look, or how does his form that is reflected in a human form look. But in the Vedas we have very, very exact descriptions, and that is why some people, they take it cheaply, especially, in India also, but also outside India, scholars, they just think Krishna was an ordinary human being, and that's why they criticize the devotees in one sense, but more they criticize the scriptures. They really put down the value of the scriptures, and that's why they call it Pashandis. There's different descriptions or definitions of what is a Pashandi. Let's see what we can come up with. Who is a Pashandi? What does it mean? Pashandi. Atheist, right? So what does that mean? A little bit more. What do the scriptures say? What do the acharyas say?
There are 10 offenses. One to forget, get the name of the Vishnu, Brahma and Vishnu in the same.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's one point that is mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and then also in C.C. Madhya Lila, it is quoted that one who equalizes the name of Lord Vishnu with demigods, he is a Pashandi. You have more points on this? For example, Jiva Goswami also says that in the Bhakti Sandarbha that a worshipper of impersonalists and one who denies Brahman, he is a Pashandi as well. Or also one who equalizes conditioned Jiva with the Supreme. That's what Prabhupada quotes Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So if somebody, again, this is the point, that somebody thinks that Krishna is just a human being like you and me, and he has a form, a material human body like you and me. And then also one definition of a Pashandi is the Prabhupada gives in a purport to 4.2.32 and 4.2.30. He says that one who doesn't accept the conclusions of the Vedas, he is a Pashandi. So one who derides scriptures, who doesn't take scripture to be factually true always, in all circumstances. And in this way, I think, at least for myself, I still have these remnants of a Pashandi in me, and sometimes not remnants, but quite strongly, where you doubt scriptural statements and you cannot fully put your faith in them. But that's very much something that we have to become aware of. Where are we still not in sync with Scripture? Where do we have doubts? And where is this atheistic nature still coming through? And how can we overcome it? And of course, to overcome it, what is said is that one has to go deeper into Scripture. And the more you actually read, the more you hear about Krishna, the more this conviction comes, right? And it is said that is then firm faith. Shraddha Shabda Vishwaskai Sudridanishchai Krishna Kaile Bhakti Karma Sarva Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. That's described in CC somewhere. That the definition of faith, what is actual Shraddha? It is that you have full faith that whatever you do in the service of Krishna, that will absolve you of having to do anything else. That's that's the definition of Shraddha. That whatever you do, you don't have to do anything else besides Krishna's seva, basically. That's the definition of faith that is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And this comes by developing a proper Shastra Shraddha. We hear sometimes that Shraddha actually means Shastra Shraddha, not Shraddha of Lokika Shraddha. There's this two kind of Shraddhas. One faith is based on the Lokika consideration, or what the people say, hearsay, and the other is based on Shastra. And we have to really make a strong endeavor to, as soon as possible, develop this strong Shastra Shraddha faith that is based on Scriptures and based in Scriptures. And Prabhupada also mentions here a few times, and this is actually the topic that I want to delve in a little bit, that idam sharira mama durvibhavyam. So durvibhavyam, this word is stressed. He also mentioned it later on, Srila Prabhupada, and he says that that in the spiritual, at the present moment, due to our material conception, everything is durvibhavya, inconceivable. So I can relate to that. At this present moment, we are in this illusion of I and mine, of being this material body, and in this way we cannot really grasp the transcendental essence. We cannot really understand Krishna, who he is, his pastimes and his consorts. And that's why we have to develop this understanding. It also said, of course, in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evang yuviti tattata tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mameti, so Arjuna, that one who understands my transcendental birth, janma, and my karma, my activities, he will not take birth anymore here in this material world, but go back to Krishna. Right, Sergey? Yes. So that's why it is also said in the Gayatri mantras that Vitmahe, try to get to know the spiritual master, but then also Gora and Krishna. That's also the kind of succession that we follow. We first try to understand our spiritual master, and by understanding him, this knowledge, Divyagyan Hridaya Prakashito, becomes revealed in the heart.
Understand the spiritual master, what about? What understand spiritual master?
Yeah, so we want to understand his mood, how he is seeing Krishna, what is his relation with Krishna, and his instructions, his Vani, what does he want to teach us. And if we understand these things more and more, if we constantly meditate on how can I serve my spiritual master, then automatically we will become more in tune also with what Gora wants from us and what Krishna wants from us. Like this is implied, no? Try to understand the spiritual master, because the more you understand him, how he does things, why he does things, how he tries to serve Krishna and how he tries to instruct us, the more we can then also develop this attitude. And this is a lifetime project. It's not that we will figure out tomorrow and understand our spiritual master, because it is also said, and that's exactly the kind of tension that we have here as well, that Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra, and the rest I forget, but that it is very, very difficult to understand the Vaishnav, right? And what to speak of a Paramahansa Vaishnav like our spiritual masters, like Srila Prabhupada. So that is this kind of tension, this conflict, this contradiction in one sense, that we have to understand Krishna and the spiritual master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the same time, it's practically impossible. But, of course, we understand that in the spiritual plane, this is not impossible at all. And there is where this kind of mood comes in of inconceivable. It can have two meanings, right? So first of all, we have our philosophy is called what? Where this word also comes? Yes, so achintya, beda, abeda, tattva, right? That's the basis of all what we do in Krishna consciousness. But even there it says achintya. And chinta means to conceive, to be able to perceive and understand. And achintya means it's inconceivable. So that's one way of understanding inconceivable. You cannot understand it. You just cannot figure it out. But another way, and this is the sense that that over the years I came to realize that this is actually the understanding. It also means wonderful. It's wonderful oneness and difference at the same time. And it's wonderful that Krishna comes in this world and he appears like one of us. It's wonderful. And that means what is wonderful, no? And this I wanted to go a little bit into. Because wonderful, it can mean like good. Something is fantastic, is very good. That's wonderful. Like prasadam is wonderful. It's very tasty. But then the other sense is that it makes you full of wonder. It gives you this feeling like, wow, how is this possible? It's like so beautiful, so nice, so good. This kind of feeling that arises from something. That can also then be translated into like curiosity. In German we have this word Neugier. So you're greedy for something new, right? And if you see that, like you look at Krishna or you meditate about Krishna and something comes up that you never thought about, like when devotee has real taste for, let's say, lately we had Govardhan Puja and Mahakrishna was giving class about Govardhan Puja, and he so beautifully elaborated on Krishna's pastime. And then there come out so many aspects that you never thought about, and this fills you with this wonder. It's like, wow, Krishna is so amazing. And this sense of wonder, that's what we have to strive for and constantly hanker for. And then Jagannath will reveal himself on the altar and in our hearts also. I thought he would just open the curtain,
Yes,
but maybe it was not yet. And once Vishaka Mataji, the temple president of the Bhaktivedanta Manor, she said this when she came. She's a photographer, right, by nature. She was there with Srila Prabhupada in many of his very intimate moments together with her husband, Yadubara Prabhu. And she was quoting this G.K. Chesterton. I have no idea who this is, but he said, "The world will never starve for want of wonders, but only for want of wonder." So what it means is that there's wonders everywhere. We will not starve of having wonders around us all the time. We will not be... we always have the chance to see wonder, miracles happening all the time, because Krishna's creation is full of amazing things. And at the same time, if we don't have this sense of wonder, if we're closed, if we're too much in our own bubble, in our mental state, in our identification with this body, we cannot perceive the wonders going on all the time. Shri Shri Jagannath Subhadra Devi ki jai. Sri Sri Gaurnitai ki jai. Right? Einstein is also supposed to have said that there's two ways to look at this world. And one is that everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. So that's kind of the outset. And we can see that now, for example, with children who have less these kind of filters, who have less this kind of experiences also in this world, and they're just so intrigued by everything basically. Whatever they see, they will say, "Oh wow, this is so nice," and they will try to, what can they do with it? There's so much curiosity, so much life. And what we can see over a period of time, when we become become older, when we become fixed in who am I, and in this body and my relationships with this world, my work, this is who I am and everything, then people lose this sense of wonder, and it becomes more of a just continue living. And you can see, even though people are living, they're already dead inside. There is no real emotions, no real feelings, no real love actually, because it's just everything is kind of coming to a halt, because we lose this interest, this real interest for the world. And that's a very sad state of affairs, and it can happen anywhere. It can also happen in devotional service, that we become just mechanic and we just function in our day-to-day life, but losing this wonder. And so we always have to cultivate this wonder. And of course, the best examples of this wonder are always our spiritual masters, and also, of course, the inhabitants of Goloka Vrindavan. Like, they describe, for example, Shyam Sundar Prabhu. He relates so beautifully in his Prabhupada memories. He was Prabhupada's secretary for a long time, and he said, it was always the most wonderful thing and the most anxiety-filled thing also to enter Srila Prabhupada's room, because you would never know what's going to happen. You enter Srila Prabhupada's room and he can tell you, okay, go to China, and from today to tomorrow you have to change everything in your life. Or, okay, I think you should take sannyas. He told some disciples that were in a relationship, then from today to tomorrow, okay, leave everything behind and go, These kind of things. So you would never know what's going to happen. You were always in this state of wonder, in a sense. What's going to happen next? And I find it very, very fascinating to see these personalities having this kind of, and you can see also in Srila Prabhupada, that he was full of life, even at this advanced age, and he was full of curiosity to see the world, to do things, to preach Krishna consciousness everywhere, and see how people would react to it. And this is something I also see in my spiritual master, which I find very wonderful. This kind of adventurous spirit, whatever comes, he will be very happy to take it on. New challenges and new things, always, even now, pushing the borders. Like recently he did this 12-kilometer swim in the Thames, in a river, Can you imagine 12 kilometers, how far that is? That is a long, long way. And his body is 74, so, usually you don't do these kind of things at this age. But just because he wants to see, how far can he go, how far he will do it. And of course, the other purpose also was he was collecting donations to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam into Arabic, because it has still not been printed. And so, he collected around 30,000 pounds, by this endeavor. So it's interesting, what devotees will do to preach Krishna consciousness, to expand their consciousness also, and understand more about Krishna and the world. And that's what Prabhupada also describes here. Why is the sense of wonder there? What is the source? It's this absolute platform of the spiritual world. And the absolute platform is constituted of 3 items, which are sevya, seva, and sevaka. The person served, the process of service, and the servant. These 3 items are completely spiritual, and therefore the spiritual world is called absolute. So, ultimately, what is this? Sevya, seva, and sevaka. It's all about love, right? The lover, which in this case is the devotee, and love, this is a devotional service, this is how it's expressed, and the beloved, which is Krishna. And this basis of actual love, it brings out this sense of wonder, that wow, how wonderful is Krishna, how can I serve him better, what can I do for him, what will please him really. And this is what the gopis see. This is how also you can relate to everybody else, to every other soul. Like when the gopis converse, then one gopi will say, oh, Krishna is so wonderful. Did you see the way he's having his hair? It's so beautifully combed in that way. Or another will say, did you hear Krishna's flute playing? It's so wonderful, so beautiful. And the other gopi then, who is the first, let's say, when she hears the other gopi comment about Krishna, she falls in love with Krishna more. And because the other gopi was inspiring her to fall in love more, then she will, glorify that gopi so much and be so appreciative of that gopi. And this way, the love is just expanding, and everybody is included in this ultimate platform of serving Krishna and always being absorbed in the meditation on Krishna. And the one thing is that in our conditioned state, the mind comes in the way often. Again, because we don't perceive these wonders, we don't have this wonder going on in internally. And so we have to really first before real love can awaken, we have to learn to control the mind and the intelligence. And I was just recently, my spiritual master, Sona Shiva Maharaj, he gave a seminar on the Mana Shiksha, is still going on actually. And that's all about Raghunadas Goswami gives us instructions how to control the mind, Mana Shiksha. And Srila Shiva Maharaj made this point that, the problem is the mind is always going on, 24 hours, even when we sleep, it's always working. Whereas the intelligence, it gets very tired over time. Yeah.
If we sleep, mind relax.
It's still, no? You have dreams, that's coming from the mental platform. Actually, it is said it's always going on. Sometimes we're just not conscious, but it's always working. Whereas the intelligence, it needs rest. And that's the problem. That when we're tired, when the mind is overpowering the intelligence, we do all kind of stupid things, and in this way we get entangled in the material world. And so we have to strengthen the intelligence. And that's why we have these descriptions of Srila Prabhupada, of Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada's purports to them, where, we're told again and again, yeah, Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's Rishapa. He is the best. We need to hear this constantly again and again, because otherwise we will always put ourselves back in the spot. And Krishna's form is not material. He's not like you and me. But still, we are made in his image, and that's why we're eternally connected. And by hearing again and again, more and more our intelligence will become strengthened and able to control the mind, and then this sense of wonder can come about, because then the intelligence sees, wow, this is wonderful, this devotee is wonderful. Just that he's here is so wonderful. I mean, what are the odds? There's so many souls out there, and now he's here and doing so much service and trying to please the devotees and Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. This is wonderful. It's not to be taken for granted. Chai Ram Prabhu, he's working and still he wants to come here and be with the devotees, spend time, come to Mangal Arati, even though it's intense. It's wonderful. It's like, who does it? Who has this kind of urgency? And so in this way, we can always see in everything in this world, in all the relationships, in all the personalities, so much wonderful things. And the more we can connect this to Krishna, the more we will feel this inspiration to practice properly and to really go for it, because we understand that this is the most wonderful thing. This Krishna consciousness and the knowledge, the consciousness, the perception that we get from it is just the best thing that we can have. And the more we can tap into it, the happier we become also. And in this way, it's like, why would you do anything else? And yeah, that's my little bit for the day. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any thoughts on this also, on wonder, or if anything else came to your mind, please share.
Questions or things,
Mm-hmm.
because I read instruction Yurlava, Spiritual Academy, and in instruction this instruction says that when you sleep, can be no volume, because mind not relaxed. And now you speak that mind all time on, and I understand this is mental platform because we see sun. When we sleep, we see something.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's us understand this moment that mind relaxed. What is mind relaxed?
I mean, we could maybe say it's less active, or it's in a different state of mental activities. Maybe Mark Shanapur, you wanna? yeah, like, you know,
Maybe not intensive, yes?
yeah,
In this moment.
yeah, yeah. And, you know, because we're a soul, this thinking, feeling, willing is always going on, right? We always have desires, and these desires are always kind of churning. And that's why and because we're materially conditioned, that's how they enact themselves, or they come up in the mind. And that's why the mind is always blubbling, you know, is always going on.
Like a kid.
Yeah.
And the kid you can have our moment, but the kid is not affected, yes. It's very good for us, and for people with 30, 40,
Right, right.
50 years old. Follow kids, yeah, because kids don't want to stop, let's stop.
Right.
Life is like this.
Right, right. That's a good example. And you never know when it's gonna get, you know, when it's gonna erupt. Like the baby can cry in the night at 2, you know, and it just always, it can always come up. Like it's always active in a sense. It's just sometimes a little dormant, but it's never fully. Whereas the intelligence, you know, and that you can tell from experience also, no? Sometimes, like, marathon is coming up, and in book distribution you often have this experience that is just, you know, you cannot bring your intelligence back and understand that you should give books because you just fried, you know. I don't know, maybe you had some bad interactions or something. One time this happened to me also during marathon. It was just too much, you know, and I was just tired. I could see the body is so tired, and the mind is overpowering the intelligence. The mind is saying, no, why are you doing this? You know, this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, nobody will take books. You know, this doesn't work, this and that. But in other moments when your intelligence is strong, then intelligence will just cut it and say, yeah, no. You know, the mind will always say, because what is the mind? What did we say last week, remember? M-I-N-D. The mind...
Magnifies,
That's also a good one, yeah. Right, it said intensifies. N. No. Oh, that's also a good one, yeah. Inventing. And doubt. Yeah. So the mind magnifies and intensifies, makes bigger negativity and doubt. That's the nature of the mind. It will always blow it out of proportion, like the storm in the water glass. Mahakrishna Prabhu said, or also like the mosquito that you turn into an elephant, right? You make the mosquito into an elephant. There's one mosquito bothering you, and your whole life is disturbed. You cannot sleep, and you know this is the worst thing ever that happened in your life. Oh my God, this one mosquito it's like the biggest demon that is existing on this planet. You know, it's just one little mosquito. So like this, the mind blows it out of proportion, and if the intelligence is not strong, then it will just take over. And this way we can understand that intelligence gets tired over time, where the mind is always active, you know. It will always come up. There's always thoughts going on, things coming up. It's just the nature of the material world. Nahijat, what is it? In Bhagavad Gita it said, Nahijati. I think it's a very nice verse because it really pinpoints that this material world is a very strong influence. Nahi kashit kshanamapi chatu tishtatya karma krit karyate vashaha karma sarva prakriti jair gunai. That everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the 3 modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. We can never do nothing. We're always doing something. And that doesn't necessarily speak about our physical activity, but more so about the mental activity. Of course, physically also we're always breathing, for example, and by this we kill little insects, for example. We accrue karma just by this. But then also mentally we're always churning and going over things, and that will lead to more actions. And in this way we can never stop doing things. It's just the nature of this material world. Yeah, but I'm also not an expert. We could go more into it, and it would be interesting what this academic thing says.
I have a question about the position of wisdom.
Uh-huh.
There's the 5 incarnations, like state?
Yeah, good point. I mean, so there's Dash avatars, and why is Rishabdev not included? I would say, even though Rishabdev, of course, is very, very important, and we can see he's like giving such nice instructions, he's not exemplifying so much something as do the other incarnations. Like, okay, Krishna, he exemplifies this mood of bhakti. How much bhakti is more important than anything else, right? Then Ram is the incarnation of his Purushottam Maryada. He's the rightful king, morally perfect. And other incarnations, Matsya Avatar. No, what is the fish called? A fish incarnation is Matsya. Yeah, okay. Then Kurma is, yeah. So Matsya, he's saving the Vedas, and in this way they have like very specific purposes. Whereas Rishabdev, it seems to me, as my kind of philosophical speculation, that he's instructing his sons, but then after he's going as an avaduta, right? So it's a little bit, it's not something really we can follow much, or that we can, adapt in our lives maybe. But yeah, it's interesting, like in different ways, I always find interesting why certain people are chosen. For example, also the Mahajans, there's 12 Mahajans. Why exactly these Mahajans? Like, there are other personalities that are not included that also seem to be very important and like powerful. So,
But there's no altars or temples of Rishabdev.
this, no, but there's the chains, right? The chain religion, they go back to Rishabdev. So, and of course they took it to a different extreme. But yeah, I think I couldn't give a better answer than this. Markrishnanapo, you have some addition? Why is Rishabdev not included?
According to Panchatantra, have so many incarnations like waves in the ocean. Rishabdev incarnation is a very important incarnation. Your instructions in Srimad Bhagavatam to your sons and followers is very important, but the practice is a little confusing. Or is to confuse the materialist people. Especially the Jainism came from the
Right.
Rishabdev.
Yeah, that's what I also thought, that we cannot really follow his example to become an avadut like him, and so that's maybe why he's not like of main importance in that sense to follow. Yeah, but it's interesting to think about it. Okay, thank you very much. I think we should end here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
What I remember is that Lord Siksastakam, that they say for all people that we not must lose our siddha in this time what we live. But I must use siddha every day because I don't know English, and class on English it's very hard for me. You speaking, I understand nothing. But,
so difficult.
but
Hard.
something can understand.
Only that the mind is not sleeping.
Thank you. Oh, the Machari asked and be good. What is it? Ask say. smell in Brahmacharya ashram. Please go. When I go out Varshava temple, I have 12 Gibran. My bag is very big. I don't take this Gibran. What is the Gibran? From Sunday?
From Prabhupada.
From
Yeah,
Prabhupada?
from the day to the end of Prabhupada. Not for you. No, 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 no.